what I wanted to do today was answer questions. That's always the greatest thing about YouTube Live. And you can ask me questions anytime whatsoever. And I also do want to let you know that, there are these things called super chat and super stickers. And, I'll drop what I'm doing at any moment if you drop me a super sticker and I'll answer a question. But don't feel like you have to do that. Main thing is I'm going to stop this presentation, which is going to be about how to go about preparing for the AP Bio exam, which is, on May 5th. So it's rapidly approaching. But the good news is that if you're watching this show right now, there is plenty of time. You can have a transformative learning experience in the time between now and the AP Bio exam. And really what I want to do is promote a way of preparing for this thing where you won't be cramming for the tests. So let's do this. Let's talk about our agenda for this evening. I want to walk you through a 2-week plan to review. Those 2 weeks, it's a countdown that's going to start just over 2 weeks before the AP Bio exam. I want to let you know about some resources to study, and I want to answer any questions that you have. I also want to let you know that I have a detailed plan that you can get a copy of by going to apbiosuccess.com/plan. And I also want to let you know that you don't have to be frantic about copying down links and things like that, though, of course, you guys are probably all great at doing that. I'll put all the important links in the description at the end of this video. So they'll be there for you. And of course, you can always watch the video again. So everybody clear on what the plan is for tonight? And I see, people are saying they're from San Antonio, California. That is fantastic. So let's move on. I want to talk about the 2 most important things for studying for a big comprehensive exam like the AP Bio test. And the first thing is that it's a big deal. These tests are difficult, they're long, they require knowledge of a huge amount of content, and you're going to be competing against folks who are going to set the time aside to study. Now, of course, I don't know anything about you folks, and the fact that you're here watching this on a Wednesday night, that says a lot of great stuff about you, about who you are and how motivated you are. And folks who are taking this test, they're going to be studying, and you're going to be competing against people for that 4 and 5, for people who are going to set time aside to study. So I just want to make sure that you have the maturity and the focus to do what is required to be done. And that is really set aside a significant amount of time. If you do that with foresight, you don't have to cram. And that is really what I want to promote. I want to promote doing review in a slow, consistent way that's going to get you to the highest level of knowledge. The more that time is spread out, the better your results. Don't start your review process on May 3rd and think that in a weekend you can get yourself ready. If you do any gardening, you can't really rush certain things. Like if you're gardening, you got to plant your seeds ahead of time so that they're ready for harvest. And you have to prepare your mind for a big test in the same way. So the more that time is spread out, the better your results are going to be. And you got to study in the right way. And that is most of what I'm going to focus about. And in fact, the fact is that I'm about to present you with a 2-week plan. And if you follow the plan, you're going to do great. And I just want to actually give a shout out to Gabriella, who just said that she literally promoted my videos and course to the whole bio class. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Let's talk about some principles of effective review. You can get these principles of review in written form, but you'll actually get them in a better form by going to learn-biology.com. And if you go to this page, learn-biology.com/apbiology, that's the sign-up page for our website. But I also have embedded some resources there. And one of the resources is our 2-week plan for review, which I updated for 2025. So all the dates are right, all the principles are right. It'll walk you through exactly what to do on every single day. And we're going to go over that right now. But just to give you an overview, what reviewing for a big test like this is about identifying the gaps in your knowledge you gotta figure out where your gaps are, and then you have to work towards improving those gaps. The way that you improve that is through retrieval practice. It's through active learning processes. And what I'm saying is that I make YouTube videos. I make a lot of YouTube videos, but you have to do more than just watch a video. You have to interact with the knowledge. And interaction means doing things like flashcards, quizzes, because you need to be confronted with questions that will tell you what you don't know. And that's what retrieval practice is all about. It's about retrieving what's stored in memory or not stored in memory. And that's one of the most effective ways of consolidating memory, building connections between different areas that you know about, and finding the gaps. As you study, interleave content. And what I mean by that is there's definitely a moment where you find a gap and you say to yourself, oh, I don't really understand cell communication. And you can go in and work on cell communication. You forgot what a phosphorylation cascade was all about, and you're going to review that. But in general, when you're studying, you don't want to study Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4, because if you mix up content, which means if you do a question from Unit 1, followed by a question from Unit 6, followed by one from Unit 3, followed by one from Unit 8, what you wind up doing is you wind up interconnecting these concepts in your mind. You literally grow neuronal connections that help you become a more sophisticated thinker. And if you've looked at any of the FRQs jump all over the place. You need to be a cross-content thinker as you go into this AP Bio exam. So interleave content. You need spaced repetition. That means you learn, you forget, you learn again. And the time you do that second learning really consolidates it in learning. And finally, you need to do authentic practice. That's especially true for FRQs. You need to be practicing the skills that you'll actually be using on the test. And that means, for one thing, writing a lot of FRQs, and I'll show you 2 great places where you can do that. So we're going to start our plan. I am going to take down this banner because we don't need it right now. Okay, so the plan starts on Saturday, April 19th. That's 16 days to go. And one thing that I want to encourage people to do is this. I'm holding over the next 3 weeks a series of live Zoom reviews. I'll be on YouTube Live as well, but these are going to be smaller, more intimate things. They're limited to 20 people. And the first day, we're going to start by going over units 1 through 3. That includes topics like cell structure, osmosis, photosynthesis, respiration, some pretty tough stuff that you're going to really want to have well understood by the time you go into the test. So that's 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. PST. And what we'll do is review essential content. We'll build your FRQ and MCQ skills, and you'll learn some study techniques. And the way you sign up for these is by going to apbiosuccess.com/exam review. That's where you can learn more, or you can go to your parents and you can say, hey, Mr. W is hosting this webinar, and I really need the support, and please help me sign up. So I want to really encourage you to do that. So that's how we're starting on the 19th. And then really what we're going to do is get this thing in motion on the 20th. I told you that one of the principles of effective review is finding the gaps and filling them. And so you got to start with some self-assessment. And the easiest way to do self-assessment is just to have a good course outline. Your teacher might have given you one, and then you're set for that. But if your teacher hasn't given you one, or you want something to supplement that, I've got a great tool which is my ultimate checklist, and you can download that by going to apbiosuccess.com/checklist. And then what you do is you use the stoplight method, and the stoplight method is some tried and true method for self-assessing knowledge. And basically what you do is you get 3 highlighters. One's red, one's yellow, one's green. Stuff that you don't know, mark in red. Stuff that you kind of know, mark in yellow. Stuff that you know well, mark in green. And then you obviously spend most of your time studying the stuff that's in red. Now, along with that checklist, I have a speed review video that guides you through that, and I'll put a link to that speed review video. It's 55 minutes long, which is about the right length. It'll take you through the checklist and it'll help you review essential content at the same time. So that is day one. Probably going to take you an hour, 2 hours to do that. And that's a good way to start your process. On Monday, the 21st, I want you to continue self-assessment. And I want you to continue that self-assessment by testing yourself. Now, FRQs are kind of easy to get because the College Board publishes their past FRQs, and I'll talk about that in a second. But multiple choice, that's a tougher thing to find. And so what I'm going to want you to do is this. I'm going to go like this. Let's copy this link address. I'm going to want you to go to my website. My website, if you don't know this about me already, it's learn-biology.com. Learn-biology.com is an AP Bio curriculum that has been approved by the College Board. It's been used by thousands of kids around the country, thousands of students, hundreds of teachers use it as their textbook because it's been approved by the College Board. So you go to learn-biology.com, don't forget that dash, and then you go to AP Bio Review over here, and then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to the multiple choice test. That's how you get there. You'll sign in, and then you'll give yourself a quiz. So what you want to do is this. You want to set the number of questions to 50. I just set that. And then you want to click Begin Practice. And note that I've checked off everything on this list. In other words, you're getting the entire curriculum. So you'd begin practice, and you'd get a question that would come down. And the first question is, which of the following statements is valid regarding proteins that are translated on the rough endoplasmic reticulum? That is a question that really might show up on the AP Bio exam. And I'm not going to tell you the answer right now, but here's the main thing that I want you to know. I'm going to just choose the first question, choose the first choice. And here's what I want you to note. If you get the answer wrong, what you'll get is a hint, and then you'll get that question again. So by doing these 50 questions, you'll be doing two great things. One is you'll be finding the gaps in your knowledge, but the second is that you'll be learning and you will be reviewing. So that's day 2 of our plan. You're going to learn-biology.com and you're going to take a 50-question multiple choice quiz. Let's go like that. Let's go like that. Okay, so here we are. At the end of that quiz, you're going to get a report that looks like this. We don't have a system where we save that report in your account, but what I want you to do is take a screenshot of it or grab the text, and then you'll be set. And I see someone who is right near my hometown. I'm in Berkeley, California, and I'm seeing someone came here from Albany, California, which is a school that I know is using learn-biology.com. And I'm seeing a question, ER has to be replicated. You know, I didn't get the whole text of that question, but, you know, the ER is an internal membrane system that's replicated and created by the cell. It's part of the whole endomembrane system. So maybe I can look back at that question and we'll go back and visit it, but I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that. But now we're on Monday, April 21st, and we're going to go on with our plan. On the 22nd, what I want you to do is this. I'm holding another Zoom review, and we'll focus on units 4 and 5. That's cell division, topics like cell division, feedback, homeostasis, meiosis, genetics. That's 5 to 7 p.m. PST. Again, it's the same link to sign up, and this is a good time for me to pause and see if people have any questions. Anybody have any questions? And you can do any questions about anything related to biology. Maybe you're doing your last ecology test with your parents. And I do have a question about, can you explain compartmentalization in cells? And I sure can. And a great way to do that would be for me to go to learn-biology.com, just because that's where I know to find the diagrams. So let's go to AP Biology. Let's go to cell structure and function. Let's go to cells, endomembrane system. Okay, so compartmentalization basically just means this. I'll make this diagram a little bit bigger. Um, think about when you go into a plane, there's a luggage compartment, and that helps you put your baggage in a safe place for the duration of a flight. If you go on a bus trip, like a long bus, like a Greyhound bus, there's a luggage compartment that's underneath the bus. Same thing. Compartmentalization lets there be organization. And cells are extensively compartmentalized, but not all cells. This is mostly a feature of eukaryotic cells, which have internal compartments. And those internal compartments allow there to be segregation of function and also segregation of different kinds of chemistry. So, like, for example, this organelle here is called a lysosome. It's full of enzymes that digest things, and its pH is often much lower than the rest of the cell. Well, that's fantastic for the lysosome to do its work. But if the materials in here were to get out into the cytoplasm, the cell would essentially digest itself. So cells avoid problems like that by having compartments that have specific functions. So that's really the main thing to know about compartmentalization. When we talk about compartments, we're talking usually about things like the nucleus, the rough and the smoothie are various vesicles that are moving around, the Golgi body, and lysosomes that again form this internal membrane system called the endomembrane system. The evolution of the endomembrane system is a little bit less direct than that. That has to do with the origins of mitochondria and chloroplasts, which is a slightly different question. All right. So I am going to jump back to our presentation. And here we are. Here we are. Okay. Gabriella, thank you very much for that question. All right. So let's think about what we've done in our plan. We're still in our self-assessment phase. And our self-assessment phase has involved a checklist and then taking a 50-question multiple choice quiz on learn-biology.com. And now on Wednesday, April 23rd, I want you to take a second 50-question multiple choice test. And again, the beautiful thing about this is that as you test, you're going to be self-assessing and you're going to be learning. So you'll do that. And then on the next day, you're going to go back to your multiple choice. You're going to take your multiple choice results. You're going to go back to your checklist and you're going to flesh out your checklist. And you're going to realize things like, oh, I didn't really understand osmosis very well. And maybe you're going to change the color of that and you're going to mark it in red. But now you've got a really good sense of your gaps, and that can move you towards what you'll do next, which is then addressing your gaps. So we're on Thursday, April 24th, 11 days to go. Then we get to Friday. And on Friday, what I want you to start doing is I want you to start writing FRQs. Now, I want to emphasize, if you've got a teacher who's taking you through this process, fantastic. Do what your teacher is telling you to do. But if your teacher is still like frantically teaching content as you get close to the exam, you got to start taking care of yourself. And the way you're going to take care of yourself is by systematically reviewing. So here's the deal. The College Board, and I'm sure most of the people who are watching know this, has been extremely generous in terms of providing FRQs. And so I'm going to grab this link and we're going to go right there. And by the way, you could just Google past AP Bio FRQs and you'll get to this page. So for every year from 2024 all the way down to 2008, 2007, 2006, you have free response questions. The only thing to watch out for is that anything before 2019, you just have to be a little careful because there were some topics that were part of the AP Bio curriculum that are no longer part of the curriculum. So after 2019, everything's fine. Before 2019, watch out for questions about the nervous system and the immune system. Those have been dropped from the curriculum and you don't have to worry about them. But let me just show you what the College Board has done. Let's go to 2018. here you've got free response questions. And when I say study for, try these free response questions for 30 minutes, what I want you to do is open up a question like this and answer the question. Read the information and answer the question. Now, is it true that the format of the questions have changed a little bit? Yeah, sure. But the kind of question, the analytical nature of the question, the data sets, the complexity of the terminology, that has stayed the same. Do these past questions. They are golden. They are the best way to study for the AP Bio exam. And this is what I mean by authentic study. Now, how do you know you got the right answer? Because the College Board is really, really nice about this. What they do is, am I going to jump? No, okay, got to go like this. Got to go like this. So we were in 2019, maybe we were in 2018, sorry. They give you the free response questions. They also give you the scoring guides. So you can go right into the scoring guide and you can see their answer. And they'll tell you what you should have estimated, what you should have identified, and they'll tell you exactly what you should have done. And sometimes they won't actually show you the diagrams, but if you go, let's see, like this. If you dig a little bit deeper, you can even see sample responses. And they'll show you like a diagram. I don't know if this one will have it. Oh, I opened the wrong question. They'll show you the text of a sample answer that's just sometimes exemplary, sometimes not so great. But anyhow, that's how you find this. Julia just asked this question. Julia, I think you're asking where it says, where can you find this? I think you're asking about these FRQs. You just Google past AP Bio FRQs and just, try that right now. And that's what you'll get. So anyhow, that's what I mean. When I say spend a half an hour practicing FRQs, practice FRQs. Start with 2024, then do 2023, then just do 2022. I also want to show you another thing that will really help you with this. And I am now going to have to okay. Sorry, having a little tiny technical problem here. All right, so now I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, cancel. Sorry about this, folks. We're going to go like this. Fantastic. Okay, we're back. Okay. Okay, so College Board FRQs, you're going to spend time writing those. Now, another thing that I want you to do is really cool. On learn-biology.com, and if you don't know about this, I think it's going to blow your mind. We've got, oh, that's not what we're doing yet. I'll show you that later. We've got multiple choice questions. I've already shown you those multiple choice questions, so I'm going to go on. And I do want to tell you that we have a FRQ success guide, and you can download that by going to apbiosuccess.com/FRQs. Okay. And it looks like this, and it just gives you various tips for how to write great FRQs. Now, on Saturday, the 26th, you'll have 9 days to go. Spend more time writing FRQs, self-assess. We've got these games on learn-biology.com. They're called Click on Challenges, and I'm going to show you those in a minute. But the first thing I want to show you is this, because it's so mind-blowingly cool. Right here. here. Okay, so you go to learn-biology.com and you go to our AP Bio Review tab, and that'll take you here, and then you click on AP Bio Enhanced FRQs. So these are free response questions, and they come from all over the curriculum. And you can choose various areas that you want to study, or you can just randomly do anything. Like I told you, you want to interleave content. So the best way to practice is now to take questions from anywhere. And here you go. A group of students is given 20 radish seeds. The students divide the seeds into 2 groups. Each group is masked, regularly watered, kept in the same conditions except for one difference. One group is kept in the dark. One is kept in the light. After 3 weeks, the seedlings have sprouted. Young plants are placed in a fruit dryer, which removes all the water. Predict what happens to the dry mass of the group in the light and the group in the dark. Explain the difference between the 2 groups. So you have a field here where you'll enter your response. And you might say something like, I predict that both groups will lose mass because they're not getting any food. And the second thing I'm going to write is for part 2, there shouldn't be any differences. Okay, guys, I know that's not the right answer. And I know you're thinking like, this guy, he doesn't know any biology. He's really not qualified. But I did that on purpose because what I want you to do is this. Now I'm going to check the answer. And we're going to give you feedback based on what you put in there. Your prediction that both groups would lose mass is correct. The answer guide states that in the group in the light would gain mass and the group in the dark would lose mass. So you're getting feedback about your answer, and then you're getting feedback about part 2, and then you're getting instructions about how to improve. So this is like having your own personal FRQ tutor who will give you feedback about how you can write better FRQs. And we've tested this extensively. And in fact, we tested this extensively with students at Albany High School. So Tenzin, I'm trying to remember if you were one of the students who were part of that set of students that we tested with. But anyhow, these are fantastic. And if you use these alongside of using the College Board FRQs, you're going to really set yourself up to crush it on the AP Bio exam. Let me go back to my presentation now. And here. And let me show you one more thing. So now we're on Saturday. We were on April 26th. So now we're going to jump over. If you want to crush it on this year's AP Bio exam, then you're going to have to write great responses on the FRQ portion of the exam. It's half of your score. To set yourself. All right. I just felt I didn't need to subject you to this commercial. So on Sunday, the 27th, I'm doing another Zoom review that you can join. Sign up, apbiosuccess.com/exam review, and work on the College Board FRQs in addition to that. And I wanted you to note that we've got these games that you can do on learn-biology.com. And there are these click-on challenges. And by the way, you can also do them on your phone. We have an app that's called Biomania, and you can get it on the App Store and Google Play. And it's got these click-on challenges work even better because you interact with the screen and it's a little bit more intuitive about where to click. You get sound feedback. So I think you'll really like it. So you can play games and you can keep on learning. It'll be super fun. So now I'm going to pause again and see if there are any questions. And I see a question from Gabriella about how much time we should take for a long versus a short FRQ. That's a little bit hard for me to guide you on. And here's really the thing that you have to think about. I think that in the new format, which is the 2024 format, you're going to have a total of 6 FRQs, if I'm thinking about it correctly. And we can actually check that by just going to AP Bio FRQs. And here we are. Let's go to 2024 and free response questions. And indeed, here's one. That was a brutal question. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The main thing, Gabriella, for you to hold and for everybody else to hold is that you only have 90 minutes to do the entire thing. So you just have to be strategic about it. And, obviously, if you do 6 into 90, that would be about like 15 minutes for each one, but you can spend more time on the longer ones. But the main thing is you just want to show what you know, and you don't want to run out of time. So I know that this is a very vague answer. And I think that probably the best thing that you can do for yourself is to put on a timer, go into a room, practice writing these FRQs, like practice an entire thing, and just start getting a sense of how much time it takes you to do the long ones versus the short ones. And what can be a real time sink on the long ones is when you have to do graphing, because graphing takes time. And I was just going over the 2022 exam with somebody, and one of those things, yeah, you had to do a bar graph where there were 12 bars that you had to draw. So that is going to take some time. And of course, that bar graph is just one part of the question. So I wish that I could be specific and I could say X number of minutes, but the main thing is just practice and get a sense of what these FRQs are about in terms of the task that you're actually going to be doing. Let's go back. Here we are. Okay. So let's go on with our plan. Now we're on Monday, April 28th, 1 week before the exam. And I'm going to go like this, get that banner out of there. Good, a little bit more screen room. So spend more time writing FRQs. I hope you'll notice that in my plan, I have you do a lot of FRQ writing, because if you can write FRQs, you can also answer MCQs. Like the studying for the one helps you with the other. But spend 20 minutes doing multiple choice practice on learn-biology.com. Keep on evaluating your checklist. Look for items that are in the red zone. If items are in the red zone, then you can delve deeper. And you can do that through flashcards that are on learn-biology.com, or you can do entire tutorials. And I'm going to jump to learn-biology.com one last time just to show you two things. The first is that we have flashcards that cover the entire course. And you can do two things. One is that for just review purposes, you can give yourself flashcards from the entire curriculum. Or if you, for example, are feeling like, my teacher didn't really get through ecology very well, so I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into ecology. I missed a lot of questions on that part. You can just do that part, and you'll get questions like this. It's a flashcard. How is primary succession different from secondary succession? It'll tell you. And if you got the question, you click got it. If you need more time, then you can click, you want to study it more, you can flip back. Or if you need more practice, you can click that. So that's one thing to study. And another thing that I want you to know about is this on the review page. These click-on challenges, they're like games. So you start, and let's say that we wanted to work on cell structure and function. And you'll see that I'm not really a good game player. In the bilayer, this part forms a hydrophobic water-free zone. That would be the tail. Yeah. In the bilayer, this part touches, okay, phospholipids in the membrane. In the bilayer, this part touches the cytoplasm of the cell exterior. Fantastic. All right, next question. This letter for the part that makes the mitotic spindle, that's got to be that. That's the centriole. The letter for where a protein would go for processing after the rough ER, it would go to the Golgi, right? So anyhow, I'm not going to waste your time doing this, but I want you to know that there are these games that we have. We've got flashcards. We've got so many resources, and time is of the essence. Time's of the essence. So you want to study the most efficient way possible, and the way that you're going to do that is by, okay, Arushi, here's what you're going to do if you didn't get my form you study review guide. Okay, so Arushi, why don't you just do this? You can do this on the website. Let me show you something. See where it says contact? And you can just email me, all right? Email support@learn-biology.com, put an @ in there. I'll send you the plan. I'll just email it directly to you. So forgive me for that breakdown, Arushi. I don't know what's going on, but we'll figure it out. Thank you. All right, let's go back to our plan. Okay, so got a week to go. Now it's 6 days before the exam. I've got another live webinar. You're going to spend more time doing FRQs, and you're going to do those enhanced FRQs that I showed you about, because that feedback, again, it's going to get you to gold medal level, and that's where you want to be going into this test. Now we're at 5 days to do more FRQs, more enhanced FRQs, take questions for the entire course. That's the interleaving that we're talking about. Now we've got 4 days to go. I'm calling this day learner's choice, because based on what you feel your strengths or your weaknesses are, and at this point you should have a good sense of those because you've been doing a lot of review already. You're going to do enhanced FRQs, multiple choice questions, or flashcards. It's not a day off. Spend the time, make it work. 3 days to go. Spend an hour doing multiple choice practice. 2 days to go. I'm doing a final live webinar. You can sign up at apbiosuccess.com/exam review and spend more time doing enhanced FRQs. Take questions from the entire course. 1 day to go. Learner's choice. Do what you need. If you follow this plan, I just want to emphasize, if you follow this plan, you're going to be ready for the AP Bio exam. And what I want you to notice is that you're not spending 12 hours in that exhausting, desperate way right before the test. You'll really be ready. I'm seeing a question from G Coco. I'm really worried about FRQs because I'm not confident. What are some tips and tricks to feel confident about answering? G Coco, I have talked about FRQs a lot, and really the main thing is you've got to start doing authentic practice. Oh, and I've got one more thing that I haven't showed you about. How in the world did I forget this? We're going to go out to, if you go to my channel, Science Music Videos, I've got a playlist. So if you go to my playlists, so wait, we got to go here. And here, videos, playlists. Okay, I've got a playlist that's called FRQs. It starts with FRQ feedback, and it takes you through.
Do you really want to spend the rest of your life watching ads? Guys, just download Pi. It's a free Google Chrome extension, and it basically blocks ads for you.
If you want to crush it on this year's, anyhow, this takes you through those enhanced FRQs that I demonstrated, but what's even better is this. Go to the next one. AP Bio Review. This is a walkthrough of the 2024 FRQs, and I've created a video for every single FRQ that walks you through the question and it gives you the answer. Now, so far, I've only done 8 of them, and I don't know how many more I'll do, but Chikoko, watch these videos in addition to doing the FRQs that we've taught, doing the FRQs on the College Board's website and doing my FRQs. That's really going to help you a lot. You know, I know that like people will throw this phrase like practice makes perfect. Really what you have to do is perfect practice. And so you're going to have to do the hard thing, which is going to the College Board's website, downloading their FRQs, setting on a, putting on a timer, writing those FRQs, looking at the scoring guides, and like really, really working on it. And I also want to emphasize in these Zoom webinars that I'm going to do, I'm going to spend a lot of time walking through FRQs because it is the skill. And if you can do the FRQs, you're going to be able to do the multiple choice as well. And let me see some other questions that are coming in, which is perfect because we're really getting close to the end. And I'm seeing just some very nice comments from Kebab that you appreciate the videos. You got an A in AP Bio. Way to go. Fantastic. Alex, you are the GOAT. Your review videos have saved me countless times. I am really glad to hear that. But guys, I do want to emphasize this. If you like my videos, you are going to be blown away by my website because the website is interactive and it'll really move you up to the next level, and you can sign up there. And you know, it's not free, but it also isn't a lot, and it's going to give you so many resources that are going to help you be at your best. And I'm seeing from Priyanthan what's recommendation for doing FRQs faster. The big recommendation is know the content well. You know, I'm a retired teacher now. I've been retired for 2 years from my classroom at Berkeley High School. I was always really big on having students learn a lot of content because if you know the facts, then you have to spend, then your mind is free for doing the kind of analytical work that you need to do when you're answering those FRQs. So Priyanthan, practice. You have to practice FRQs, and you can do it in 2 places. Place number 1 to do it is on the College Board's website, but place number 2 is do it on learn-biology.com with our enhanced FRQs with AI feedback. They're going to be game changers. And if you have the resources to do this, join my Zoom reviews that are starting on Saturday. They're starting this Saturday, the 19th. I'll put the link here. You go to apbiosuccess.com/exam review. So I just put that in the chat for everybody, apbiosuccess.com/exam review. And that's where you'll get the, and okay, Arushi, would you suggest reviewing every unit and then do past papers or do topical review? Okay, so I talked about this. Arushi, I wouldn't suggest do unit 1, then do unit 2, then do unit 3. I would suggest do the 2024 FRQs. And that'll give you a mix of content that comes from the entire curriculum. I would go to learn-biology.com. I would go to the multiple choice test, and I would set that test so that it looks like this. We go back, going back, here we are. So let's go here. Set it so it looks like this, because this setting, I'll make myself a little bit smaller, so it's a little bit bigger. Let's see which is the right one. That's good. Okay, so in this setting, you'll get questions from every single unit in the curriculum. So that's the way to do it, Arushi. I spent 3 days just trying to study Unit 7, but you know, Arushi, that's appropriate because it's the biggest unit in the whole course. And if you study evolution, if you understand evolution, you understand biology. Kebab, I feel like my teacher is a bit behind in bio since we're just finished testing on Unit 7 today, Any suggestions on how to study Unit 8 and prepare for the exam in time? Yeah. So here's what I would do. If your teacher is using learn-biology.com, you're set. But if not, go to learn-biology.com, sign up, go to my AP Bio video pathway, and then scroll down to Unit 8, and I've got videos about every topic. Like, let's go to ecosystems. So I've got a video about trophic levels, followed by a song, because science music videos, I do music, and then a song about the carbon cycle. And then I've got a summary. And then I've got flashcards. And then I've got quizzes. So is it going to take time to do this? Yeah, biology is big. But if you need to sort of jumpstart your learning, then you might have to go ahead and do some of these topics, and they're all available to you by going to the AP Bio video pathway. And again, just for AP Bio review here, for courses, AP Bio video pathway is what you want. So Kebab, I hope that answers your question. Will I upload the link to these slides somewhere? Well, that's Linduce. I've got a plan, and what you're going to do is you're going to go to apbiosuccess.com/plan. I just put that in the chat, and that will actually give you a paper copy of the test. Okay, and here's Kebab. Okay, you guys are just having a little conversation with each other. Okay, so I think I've got to all the comments, and we've got some time left. And why don't we do this? Any more questions, or does anybody have a biology question or something you want me to review? We've got this beautiful time together. I initially thought that I would stay on for an hour. So anybody have any questions about how to move forward? You can talk about anything. Okay. And Ray Yu is asking, does it cost anything? Well, it depends on what the it is, and everything does cost something. So if you go to learn-biology.com/apbiology, you'll see it's a very reasonable monthly subscription. And at this point, you're only going to buy for 1 month, because it's already April 16th and May 5th. Just cancel your subscription. Then you've just basically paid 1 month. And the webinars, if you go to, do I have a banner for that? I don't. If you go to, I'm just going to put the word webinar here, apbiosuccess.com/exam review. Okay, so if you go there, apbiosuccess.com/exam review, then you can see what the cost is for the Zoom webinars that I'm doing. And, again, wish I could do these things for free, but I can't. And so, I hope that it's not at a price where you won't be able to participate. And I'm seeing some more comments come in. And okay, so let me talk about a couple of things. Kebab is asking any advice about how to write an FRQ, ones where you have to do a claim, evidence, and reasoning. You don't often have to do that exact format, claim, evidence, and reasoning, but you do often have to do parts of that. And what the College Board is very good about is providing keywords, command terms that you can look for. So for example, when they're asking you to justify, then they're essentially asking you to do reasoning. And that's often the toughest part. And that reasoning is going to be one of two things that you'll have to do. The reasoning is either going to be the underlying biology. So like, for example, if it were a question about population and you were talking about logistic growth, you might say, well, I predicted that the population would level off because in logistic growth, the growth is limited by limiting factors as the population nears its carrying capacity. So you see what I just did there? I just justified a prediction that I made. So you don't necessarily have to claim evidence reasoning in exactly that form, but you do have to be super good at justifying it, and you'll justify it either by biology or you'll justify it by data, by looking at the data that's given to you in the question. And Arushi's asking me about the review checklist and the exam plan free. Yeah, I mean, the cost is your email address. You have to register with me, and once you give me your email, you can download the plan. And again, if you don't get that, then just you can go to the contact form on learn-biology.com, and then you can. That show up? That's not updating. I'm worried about that. But anyhow, I should actually make myself a little bit bigger, go like that. Okay, fantastic. So anyhow, Rayu, the plan and stuff like that, no, they don't cost anything. 7. And Tal Goose Jerry is not studying right now, but you've helped me so much this year. We're getting a 98 in my AP up. Yes, way to go. That's fantastic. And then another question about, is this stuff free? Okay, well, Sohan, I'm really glad that you were able to watch my videos and learn the stuff, but I would really encourage you to take it the next level. Go from YouTube to learn-biology.com, put that banner over there, and really interact. You've got to interact to learn this stuff. One of my second principles of reviewing for this AP Bio exam was about retrieval practice. My website is built on the idea of retrieval practice because you do some reading, but then it's quizzes, flashcards, games, diagrams. It's all about interaction. And what that interaction does is it consolidates memory, but it also shows you what you don't know. And we also serve questions in a way where if you get it wrong the first time, you'll get the question again. So every time you take a quiz, you wind up ultimately answering every question correctly. And believe me, I was talking about growth curves. Your growth curve will be exponential in learn-biology.com. You will learn so much. It's going to blow you away, and you'll be so happy because understanding biology is one of the greatest things in the world. It feels so fantastic. Seeing some more comments come in. Okay, so Kebab, I would say that for Unit 7, the thing that really tricks people up, let me make myself a little bit smaller, go like this, and let me go here, and let me go to Courses, AP Bio. Gee, I think I'm showing the wrong thing. Oh, here I am. That's why. Sorry about that. I was on the wrong, and I might have actually been pointing to some things that you couldn't see. So in terms of Unit 7, here we are in the video pathway, and here it is for you. The thing where people get really tripped up is population genetics and handling Hardy-Weinberg. And my video does a pretty good job of walking you through that. And then I'll give you some examples and some practice problems. And somebody put something there about sickle cell anemia, and that is a super important case study to know about in an AP biology course because it's all about mutation, it's all about protein structure, and it's all about allele frequency because the heterozygote condition, if you have the recessive allele paired with the dominant allele, that makes you resistant to the blood-borne disease malaria, and that has shot up the frequency of sickle cell anemia sky high in countries like Nigeria, where some incredible percentage of the population is actually a carrier for sickle cell anemia. And of course, the burden of that is that that means that there are many children who are born with sickle cell anemia. And that's tragic because most of those children, because Nigeria is a poor country, don't get adequate medical care and they die in early death. But there are also lots of heterozygotes, and those heterozygotes have increased survival. So that is a cool concept related to Unit 7. And Legend Fire, I haven't started studying yet, but can I still get a 5? And I would say this, yes, you can. If you were starting from 0, I would be like, wow, that's tough. But you've been in a biology course this whole year. What you need to do is now consolidate and build skills, but you need to do it in a systematic way. And that's what I've been encouraging people to do. So if you download this plan, apbiosuccess.com/plan, then you will have a roadmap to doing the kind of review that you need to do. Folks, it is 7:32, and I want to tell you that it has been an incredible, incredible honor to be here with you. I want to thank you so much. I want to encourage you to download the plan. I want to encourage you to go to learn-biology.com, sign up for an account. I want to encourage you to join me on my webinar on Saturday, where it'll just be you and 20 other people. Actually, it won't be 20 because I don't have 20 people signed up yet. I won't let more than 20 people sign up, but you can join and you can participate and you'll be able to ask me questions. It'll be on Zoom. It won't be this. So it's a much easier way to get feedback and for me to give explanations and stuff like that. I'll do another live again soon. If you sign up for my website, you'll get emails from me where I'll let you know when I do these lives. It's been a real pleasure to be with you. I hope I see you again. And if I don't, good luck reviewing for the AP Bio exam. Everybody, be well. Thanks a lot.